The island that didn't want to be found. There was an island, but not in the ocean. It floated somewhere between thoughts, tucked away behind the part of your mind that wonders if you left the stove on. The island didn't like visitors. It didn't dislike them either. It simply forgot to exist when someone came looking for it. Birds would fly toward it and find themselves arriving at a completely different sky. Maps refused to acknowledge it. Compasses spun lazily when asked, but once in a while, very rarely, someone would stumble onto it by mistake, and the island would sigh and say, "Oh, fine." The visitor this time was a woman. She wasn't looking for an island. She was looking for a quiet place to eat a sandwich. She sat on a park bench, unwrapped her sandwich, and suddenly, there it was. Not the sandwich, the island. Soft, warm sand beneath her feet. A gentle breeze smelling faintly of lemons and forgotten birthday cards. She blinked. The island coughed politely. "Sorry," it said. "I didn't mean to bother you." "It's fine," she replied, taking a bite. The sandwich tasted like memories of sandwiches. Not bad, just vague. She looked around. The ocean, if it could be called that, wasn't water. It was more like liquid curiosity, shimmering, shifting, full of questions that forgot what they were asking halfway through. Waves lapped gently at the shore, whispering, "Why?" And then, "Never mind." Palm trees swayed even when there was no wind. One of them bent down and said, "You dropped this." It handed her a feather that wasn't hers. She thanked the tree and put the feather in her pocket, though she wasn't wearing pants either. She wandered inland. The sand became soft carpet, then pebbles, then puzzle pieces that didn't quite fit together. A signpost stood ahead. It pointed in 6 directions, each labeled "Elsewhere." She chose the 7th direction, the one that wasn't there, and found herself in a meadow full of clocks. Not ticking, just humming gently. Every clock had a tiny note attached. "Be back soon." A small creature scurried past. It looked like a combination of a raccoon, a teacup, and an apology. It tipped its hat, it had 3, and vanished into a bush that politely refused to exist. She sat down. The grass beneath her rearranged itself into the shape of a sigh. Somewhere far away, a bell rang, or maybe it yawned. She took another bite of her sandwich and realized it now tasted like goodbyes. The island whispered, "Thank you for not asking where this is." She smiled. "I wouldn't know how." And the island smiled back, though islands have no mouths. The clocks in the meadow began to shuffle, not loudly, just a soft, collective rearranging, like someone straightening napkins before a guest arrives. She stood up. The clocks politely looked away. One of them cleared its throat and said, "We were never here." And then they weren't. Where the meadow had been, there was now a library, or perhaps a forest of bookshelves pretending to be trees. The leaves were pages fluttering in an unreadable breeze. Each book had a title like "A Guide to Misplaced Keys," "Instructions for Remembering Names," right after forgetting them. Volume 4 of Volume 1, the book that wasn't written yet. She pulled out a thin volume that felt heavier than it looked. Inside, blank pages, except for one line on the last page. "Close me gently." She did. The bookshelf sighed with relief. She walked deeper into the library forest. The floor beneath her feet became cobblestones that rearranged themselves into different patterns when she blinked. Ahead, there was a pond made entirely of reflections. No water, just images of things that might have existed elsewhere, shimmering in stillness. She leaned forward and saw her own face, but older. A cat reading a newspaper upside down. A door that opened inward and fell outward. The idea of Thursday. She touched the surface. It rippled, rearranged, and whispered, "Almost." Further along, the air changed. It smelled like forgotten phone calls and unopened letters. A narrow bridge appeared, made of spoons. She crossed it slowly. The spoons tinkled softly, singing lullabies in languages no one spoke. On the other side, a beach made of pillowcases, a sky painted in sighs, and a kiosk. The kiosk attendant was a cloud wearing reading glasses. "Can I help you?" it asked politely. "I don't think so," she replied. "Excellent choice," the cloud said, handing her a receipt for nothing in particular. She thanked it. The receipt smelled faintly of lemon zest and nostalgia. She kept walking. Soon, she found a staircase that spiraled downward and upward at the same time. A small plaque read, "Take whichever direction you feel like. They both end up elsewhere." She sat down on the third step. The staircase purred gently beneath her. Somewhere in the distance, a door closed with a sound like a question mark. She closed her eyes. The island gently rearranged itself around her, not wanting to disturb. And for the first time, she felt exactly where she was supposed to be, which, of course, was nowhere at all. The staircase hummed beneath her, shifting slowly like a cat stretching after a nap. She stood, unsure whether she was going up or down, and decided it didn't matter. The steps rearranged themselves into a gentle slide, and she found herself gliding softly into a room that had no ceiling. The sky above was made of soft whispers and half-remembered melodies. A single kite drifted by, though there was no string and no one holding it. She waved. The kite dipped politely. The room's floor was covered in soft velvet question marks, each one slightly different, some small and neat, others large and dramatic, as if they had something important to ask, but had forgotten what. In the center of the room sat a table with a teapot. The teapot was snoring softly. She sat and waited. Eventually, the teapot woke with a startled, "Oh!" and poured itself into a cup. The cup rippled gently and said, "You're early." "For what?" she asked. The cup shrugged. "We never know until after." She nodded. That made sense. After the tea, which tasted like the moment right before a sneeze, the floor shifted again. Now she was standing in a hall of portraits. Each frame contained a picture that moved when she wasn't looking. She turned quickly. One froze, a cat wearing galoshes in a thunderstorm. She turned again. Another stilled, a goldfish sitting in a therapist's chair. The third portrait blinked at her. "You're doing fine," it said softly. She smiled, and the portrait blushed, becoming a painting of roses instead. At the end of the hall, a door waited. On the door, a sign. "Please enter only if you have no questions." She hesitated. What if... The sign shushed her, so she pushed the door open without asking. Inside was a garden floating in mid-air. Each flower bloomed and unbloomed slowly, petals opening into shapes that almost spelled words before closing again. Butterflies drifted past, made of paper and gentle apologies. A fountain bubbled quietly, filled not with water, but soft notes of music that never quite became a song. She sat beneath a willow tree that gently rearranged its branches into comforting shapes. The grass beneath her became a soft quilt. She took a breath. The island sighed with her. Somewhere far away, or perhaps right beside her, a bell chimed 3 times. A voice she couldn't see whispered, "Thank you for not trying to understand." "I wouldn't dare," she whispered back. And the wind carried her reply away, folding it gently into the pockets of clouds. The willow tree's branches wrapped lightly around her shoulders like an old friend's hug. The garden slowly shifted, the flowers folding into origami birds that drifted upward and vanished into the sky's soft fabric. She lay back on the quilt grass, staring at clouds that changed shape with every breath. A staircase leading nowhere, a feather writing words in the air that disappeared before they finished. A door with no handle, opening inward and outward at the same time. The sky darkened slightly, not into night, but into a comfortable sort of dusk, the kind that feels like warm tea and quiet endings. A soft voice beside her, or inside her, whispered, "It's almost time." "For what?" she asked gently. The voice chuckled. "You know better than to ask." She smiled. "You're right." The garden slowly folded itself away, like a page being turned without reading the last line. She stood, and the ground beneath her became a smooth path made of stitched-together memories. The smell of summer rain on hot pavement, the sound of distant laughter from a room she never entered, the feeling of finishing a sentence just as someone else begins it. The path led her to a gate that wasn't locked, just waiting. Above it, carved in soft letters, "Departure point, somewhere else." She pushed it open. Beyond the gate, a boat waited, not floating on water, but gently resting on a bed of sighs. The boatman was a turtle wearing spectacles far too big for its face. It nodded without speaking. She climbed aboard. The boat drifted, not forward or backward, but softly outward, into a place where directions stopped meaning anything. The stars above blinked slowly, some of them rearranging into polite thank you notes before dissolving into gentle silence. She leaned back, feeling weightless. The turtle looked over its spectacles and finally spoke. Most people try to find this place. I didn't, she replied. That's why you found it, the turtle said, adjusting its tiny tie. The boat drifted farther until the sky itself became transparent. Beneath it, nothing and everything. She felt herself dissolving, not in a frightening way, but like a melody coming to its final soft note. The boat gently stopped. "This is your stop," the turtle said kindly. "But there's nothing here," she said. "Exactly," the turtle smiled. "Isn't it wonderful?" She stepped off the boat onto nothing. The nothing felt soft beneath her feet. She took a deep breath. And the island, wherever it was now, exhaled one last time. The wind whispered, "Thank you for leaving without looking back." And she didn't. The end. Or perhaps just the absence of needing one.